Hey guys, Tommy with Studio Sense here. Welcome to a brand new day and a brand new video. Happy that you took some time out of your no doubt busy schedule to spend some time with me here. Today I've got 10 fragrances that are absolutely perfect for the kind of weather that we're currently experiencing. Now if you're somewhere where the snow's blowing, I actually want some of that. But this is actually a video about hot weather and the fragrance or cologne or perfume answer to hot weather, and that is aquatic fragrances. So when we come back, we're going to take a look at 10 aquatic fragrances to beat the summer heat. That and more is coming your way, so stay tuned. Welcome back, guys. Again, super happy that you took some time to be here. Now, one thing one of my viewers brought to my attention, they actually live in the area that I live in, and they work at a store down the road, and I was in the store, and they were like, hey, I watched one of your videos, and there must be something wrong with your camera. I'm like, why? What's wrong? They're like, well, when you're talking, it seems like you're moving up and down a lot. And then I realized, okay, that must just be the video that you saw, but I went back and watched a couple of my videos and I realized that I have this habit, and there's this thing called Restless Leg Syndrome, and you no doubt are familiar with it. For those of you that aren't, you live a blessed life, because it's this thing where your legs are constantly moving, whether you're laying still or whether you're sitting in a chair. And I noticed that often when I'm sitting here and recording a video, my legs are like shaking. And so it makes me look like I'm pumping up and down, or like I'm vibrating in my seat. If you've seen that, that's exactly what that is, and I'm trying to make myself aware of it. So moving on from here, trying to increase the quality of content, that's one way that I'll try to be better about that. So anyway, just a little side snippet there. Let's get back on track, because today we're talking about 10 fragrances that are absolute bangers when it comes to beating the heat in summer in the genre of aquatics. Now, what are aquatic fragrances? Aquatic fragrances are, very simply put, fragrances whose primary focus is water. Water in all forms, whether it's drinking water, whether it's oceanic, whether it's a lake or a pond. Nothing's really going to take the place of a good old-fashioned shower when it comes to sweating, and none of these fragrances are meant to take the place of that. But the following are 10 of some epic quality aquatic fragrances. The very first aquatic fragrance I want to bring your attention to isn't really talked about a lot, and I don't know why that's the case, because it's a really good quality fragrance. It is from a house that just up and disappeared one day for whatever reason. Everything virtually became discontinued. This one is still on the market. It is Fan Defendi Aqua Porom. For those of you that know Fan Defendi, let's take a moment of silence. For whatever reason, Fan Defendi just disappeared, but Aqua Porom was all over the market, and for good reason. It's a really good quality aquatic fragrance. This reminds me quite a bit of the driftwood that's in the aquatic line. It's that kind of dry, salty driftwood kind of backbone. Really inexpensive. You can grab this in any discounter. Of course, I have links below for any of these fragrances. Take it straight to the discounted rate for this. This one I highly recommend. Fan Defendi Aqua Porom. Next up is a fantastic quality aquatic fragrance that many people say it's between these two fragrances. It is similar to Versace Porom. It's similar to Chanel Allure Homme Sport. And the fragrance they're referring to is Missoni Wave by Missoni. Missoni Wave is one of those that uses floral notes. It's got Egyptian pelargonium, it's got vanilla orchid, it's got a good bit of aquatic notes in there. It is a very, in some ways, citrus aquatic, but once that citrus kind of dies down, you're left with more of the Chanel Allure Homme Sport kind of vibe in this fragrance. Although you're not paying that price for Missoni Wave, you can get it for under 50 bucks in most cases. It's got a really unique pear-shaped body along with a magnetic lid. So kind of a nice presentation for the money, specifically for the scent itself. Beat the heat this summer with Missoni Wave. If ever there was a perfumer that had near rock star status when it comes to creating fragrances, it would be Alberto Moria. And among his creations is an awesome aquatic fragrance by Salvatore Ferragamo. It is Aqua Essenziale Blue. The Aqua Essenziale line is a super solid line. In particular, Essenziale Blue, because it is a discontinued fragrance. Still not hard to find though, and you can usually get Essenziale Blue at a pretty good price. This one makes good use of an aquatic aroma chemical called Paradisone, along with a good bit of Calabrian bergamot. You also have another aquatic aroma chemical called Cascalone, lavender, ambroxan, tonka bean. There's a ton of notes in this, but it comes off very classically blue and aquatic. This is the classic gentleman's blue fragrance with that aquatic refreshing side to it. Gives it that modern feel. Aqua Essenziale Blue. Next up is a really inexpensive aquatic fragrance, and I really kind of had to do a double take because when I first tried this one out, I wasn't a super fan of it. I actually really like it. It is a Perry Ellis fragrance, and you think, oh, Perry Ellis is a dumbed down designer, they make cheap fragrances. Well, they really do, but some of them are actually really good quality. And this one is by high quality perfumer. It is Perry Ellis Aqua Extreme in kind of the new bottle shape or style. Now this one primarily features bergamot, some aquatic notes, along with a good bit of vervain in the open, so it's got a citrus aquatic appeal to it. And similar to several of these fragrances in this list today, it uses some floral notes to good effect to bring on an aquatic kind of vibe, but it also is one of the very few aquatic fragrances that has tobacco in the base. You've got a little bit of tobacco and labdanum along with some woody notes in the base to give it a nice kind of resinous backbone along with the aquatics there, which gives it kind of a darker appeal, thus the word extreme in the fragrance. Highly recommend checking it out. It's a really good nighttime aquatic as well. Perry Ellis Aqua Extreme. For our next aquatic fragrance that I recommend to beat the summer heat, this one is a little bit sweeter and a little bit more on the youthful side. It is Invictus Aqua by Paco Rabanne. Invictus Aqua is one of those fragrances that you just can't get enough. Now, it doesn't matter to me, at least, and if you're not a super nerd about fragrances, and what I mean by that is if you're not like, oh, is this from batch 2BA37R, then I'm not going to use it if it's not from that batch, or if it's not the 2016 Invictus Aqua, because the 2018 version sucks, and it really doesn't. Whether you have the 2016 or the 2018 version of Invictus Aqua, that's just a modicum of a difference. Not a tremendous amount of difference. They're both very refreshing, sweet aquatic fragrances. It features marine notes, grapefruit, ambergris, a good bit of woody notes in the background, along with Brazilian rosewood. And that's really what makes this kind of like, rosewood is similar to teak wood, and it's like a higher registered wood, and it's perfect in an aquatic fragrance. It just blends really well. And this is, I think, one of the best aquatic fragrances in the designer arena today, just because of the way that it comes across. It's got some really good performance, lasts a good bit of time, definitely worth the money. Paco Rabanne Invictus Aqua. Our next aquatic fragrance is in the same vein of Invictus Aqua when it comes to sweetness, although it's probably just a bit sweeter and a bit fruitier, but it's not one that you hear a lot about. It is from the house, the very quirky house, which I love that about them, of Kenzo. It is Kenzo Aqua, or Aqua Kenzo Pour Homme, in the kind of wavy style or wavy shaped bottle in the blue. You can actually see the juice, if you can see it there in the camera. You guys know me, I'm typically crazy about any fragrance that has apple or a combination of apple and amber in it. You've got that high spectrum fruity sharpness about it, along with that warm resinous richness in amber, and there's a good bit of that. You've got cedar, sesame, hazelnut, pink pepper, musk, and a good bit of sandalwood to soften things up in the base. One of the most super refreshing, albeit sweet, so you have to be a little careful. Now, I say all of these fragrances are for high heat, but the sweeter fragrances you might want to dial back a little bit on your sprays. Sweet fragrances can tend to be a little bit overbearing or cloying. If you wear too much of a sweet fragrance on a very high heat and high humidity day, it's going to end up cutting your choking you out a little bit. It's not a good idea for you or anyone around you. But nonetheless, Kenzo Aqua Pour Homme is an epic aquatic fragrance. But yesterday in my video, I did a first impressions of the new Cool Water Reborn, and this is a fragrance that I talked a little bit about. To me, it's one of my favorite Cool Water flankers, even though it's not one of my favorite DC characters. He's just okay in my book, but it is Cool Water Aquaman. It just has a really nice vibe to it, and I'll tell you what it is. It's very similar to, when you smell this, it kind of carries the same weight, the same density, and has some similar characteristics to a Halloween Man Hero, as well as Alfred Dunhill's Desire Blue Ocean. Basically, you've got green mandarin orange in the top, black pepper in the heart, and guaiac wood in the base. This has a component in it that's very similar to, it's almost effervescent, and it's similar to that specific, it's called Crystal Fizz, that's in Polo Deep Blue Parfum, and it smells very similar in such a way. It's got that high citrus smell and that kind of fizzy that's in Halloween Man Hero, as well as Alfred Dunhill's Desire Blue Ocean, both of which are great aquatic fragrances, but that's why I like this fragrance. And just like the Crystal Fizz and that Polo Deep Blue Parfum, it comes off really refreshing, also really inexpensive, which is always a bonus. Kind of changing the scenery a little bit with our next aquatic fragrance, and we're moving out of the ocean or moving out of the water and moving onto the beach. This is a very kind of beach faring kind of fragrance, or at least that's what makes me think of when I smell it. But it's still a very aquatic, overall refreshing fragrance. It's one of the Aqua Colonia Intense fragrances by 4711. It is Sunny Seaside of Zanzibar, one of the longest titles of a fragrance that you'll ever have in your repertoire if you own this or if you're interested in getting it. Highly recommend it. It smells very similar to Panama Jack or any other kind of like very popular sun tanning lotion. But I like that about it. It's got that really nice coconut vibe to it. It's got a ton of awesome notes in it like watermelon, star anise, frangipani. It's got coconut musk, vanilla, cedarwood, and vetiver. Now don't let the concentration of the eau de cologne scare you away. This is a very powerful fragrance, even though you don't have to worry about overspraying it because of that concentration. It still carries itself very much like an eau de toilette. I'll even spray it on me right now. I have some other fragrance on, but this will mix with just about anything. This isn't a sweet fragrance. It's actually kind of dry too. I like that about it. You cannot help but to think of a beach like the sunny seaside of Zanzibar when you smell this fragrance. All the more bring you refreshment in high heat summer days. The next awesome aquatic I want to recommend to help beat the heat this summer is probably one of the driest aquatics, and that sounds counterintuitive, but it still is an extremely refreshing, dry, wet kind of oceanic fragrance, and very it has a kind of deportment about it that's also lends itself to being worn in, you know, a little bit more upscale kind of environment. So if you're looking for an aquatic fragrance to wear to a formal event, then Prada Luna Rossa Ocean might just be the aquatic fragrance for you. This is one of those fragrances that just gets better and better every time that I wear it. It's also quite a good compliment puller as well. It may not seem like it when you first wear it, but this one creates a really nice radius, a really nice sillage trail, due in no small part to the lavender, the mugwort. There's a good bit of pink pepper, bergamot in the open. Got a little bit of spice and florals in iris, sage, saffron, and a good bit of suede for texture in the base, as well as some patchouli and vetiver for that dryness and that kind of elegant Luna Rossa feel and style. I really like this as a stylistic kind of aquatic fragrance, and you will too if you try it out. Prada Luna Rossa Ocean. The last of the aquatic fragrances to beat back the summer heat I want to talk about and recommend today is, it really shouldn't be, if this were a top 10 list, it would not be in last place. It'd actually be up there among the top 3 or the top 5 at the very least. It is Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue Forever. Absolutely the most realistic grapefruit fragrance that you will ever smell and wear. This one is, just because it has that hyper-realistic grapefruit note in it, and I don't know about you, but if you've ever seen a slow motion person cutting into a grapefruit and the juice just kind of sprays along with the peel, the zest in the peel sprays out, it's got to be one of the most refreshing visualizations ever. Oddly enough though, drinking a tall glass of grapefruit juice just isn't that refreshing when it comes to high heat anyway. So in the form of fragrance, however, it definitely beats back the heat. I love how this fragrance wears. Great performance on this. And you would think because that grapefruit note is so realistic that it would dissipate relatively quickly. Well, it actually doesn't. It's an epic summer beat the heat kind of fragrance as well, and has a near perfect dry down. Dolce & Gabbana's Light Blue Forever. In my estimation, the best of the line. Well, that's it for my 10 fragrances to help beat back the heat this summer. Aquatic fragrances that feel like you're diving into a swimming pool when you spray them on. They're refreshing, they're cooling, they make you smell amazing, and they beat back that excessive heat. Again, not to take the place of a good old-fashioned shower, but these are excellent fragrances to wear, not even necessarily in just high heat. These fragrances are good on any occasion. If you own any of these, or if you have experience with any of these fragrances, let me know what your experience is like or what your thoughts are on these. And if any awesome aquatic fragrances come to mind that you would like to recommend, please do so in the comments below. Thanks so much though for stopping by, checking out today's video. As always, thank you so much for your support on my channel. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you tomorrow.